What's up, Burn Nation, and welcome to Trainer Talk. I have a special guest for you in the building today.
I am Francesca. I am our training manager and trainer here at Burn Bootcamp in Clifton Park.
We in Clifton Park, and it's going down for real, and they kicked our butt today, and so I asked you what you were an expert at because us trainers, we have like our little niches and like the things that we really like to talk about. And so I'm gonna let Francesca really take like the first two and spearhead them. We're here in Clifton Park with her, and she's so dedicated to this community and her training team and just everyone that has been here this morning. So I wanna let her teach you, Burn Nation, a couple things, and we're gonna pitch and catch on that, and then I'm gonna come back at the end and talk about some med ball slams. So for those of you who have been wondering what the technique is to maximize those med ball slams, we're gonna do that. We're gonna talk a little bit about mindset. What's the middle one we're gonna talk about?
Modifications, coming over injuries and things like that.
Okay, so tell us why. Okay, I asked you, I said, hey, Francesca, what are the two things that you're an expert at? How can we teach Burn Nation what you know? Why do you choose mindset?
Mindset. So I've been a trainer here for almost 2.5 years now, and a lot of people come in here with goals, big goals that they want to accomplish, and as they start to accomplish those goals, I see a lot in our focus meetings and things like that, starting to hit those goals and then starting to feel like you're plateauing and you have nowhere else to go. So mindset, we see that mindset kind of wear off, and I want to give you guys just that motivation to keep on working towards those goals and know that there is always something to be progressing forward at rather than being down on yourself when you think you're not going any further.
Right, and that progression, you guys, is happiness, right? Like when you feel like you're progressing and you're moving towards something that is, desirable to you, and you feel like you're getting closer to it, well, that's where the fulfillment comes in, right? It's the process in which we're enjoying. And tell me if you feel the same way or see the same thing. What I see a lot of times is, we either set goals that are so far in the future that we really have no idea how to get there, or we're preconditioned by our past and we don't set big goals because we failed in the past, and so why would I keep trying if I failed?
Absolutely, yeah. So I think coming in here, I know even my first camp here, and I've worked out my entire life, I was nervous coming through these doors. So people always have the reason why they come in, but it is hard to set those goals really far in the future, or you think they're further in the future than they actually are.
Yeah, that too.
So having that mindset of how am I going to get that way, if we take it step by step, and then you start to realize that those goals are coming to you a lot quicker than you think.
So you sit down with somebody, we sit down in focus meetings, and we talk about our focus meeting number one, break the pattern. Yes. And we call it break the pattern because when you go to any other gym out there, right, what's the first thing that usually happens is the trainers will bring you in, and they mean well. I'm not the smack talker guy. That's not me. I'm the guy that's like, hey, I love everything. All fitness is good if people are moving their body. They're good, great, solid. Let's move forward. But oftentimes, it's not necessarily in the merit or control of the member or the client coming in. And they're just kind of put through the cookie cutter assembly line process of what everybody gets thrown through. And to me, there was something fundamentally wrong with that because of the uniquity of people, that how unique and different, and how the necessities from one person to the next are so different. They're so different. We wanted to when somebody came in for our consultation here at Burn, what we wanted to ask you was, hey, what is your vision and why do you want it? And so I teach our trainers all the time to ask that question. And most times with extroverts, they'll just go at you for 14 minutes because how exciting is it to hear someone ask you, what's your vision? And tell me about it, because no one gets asked that, right? No one gets asked what their vision is. Like, most people are dramatically undervalued and discouraged rather than encouraged, and that's a whole other topic, and that's very sad, but it gives us an opportunity to then break the pattern of like the discouragement they've gotten elsewhere, or just the hey, coming in and I'll put the tape around your waist and around your thighs, and I'll just make you feel super uncomfortable and not really ask you if you want that or not. So when you sit down with somebody and you're talking mindset with them, you ask them, what's your vision? Why do you want that vision? You sit back, you listen to it. What's the next step from there for you? Like, how you goal orienting somebody?
I always kind of ask them a few different things they want to accomplish, and usually what we hear the most is I want to lose weight, tone up. Those are the two things that we always usually hear first. And so that is a great goal to have if that is something that's going to make you feel and make you healthier. We have plenty of members that have come here, lost a lot of weight, they're no longer on medications and things like that. But it always goes deeper than that. And a lot of what we do see is people, when they start to lose weight, then they realize that that really wasn't the goal they were working for. And I think that's really when it comes into that mindset, is having those non-scale victories and those things that you want to accomplish that are still measurable, but they're not measurements, if that makes sense.
Ooh, I like that one.
Yeah, because what happens a lot of the time, and I see it recently with a couple members we have right here in Clifton Park, is the weight is coming off and the pants are fitting and they got to go shopping for new things, and then we're stuck in that mindset of, well, now I've kind of accomplished everything that I've already set. And you're not even 6 months into your journey, your lifelong fitness journey that you've set yourself up for. It is now starting to reframe that mindset now 6 months in rather than day one as to what are those other smaller things that are going to make you feel accomplished along the way. And then maybe that weight loss is just a byproduct of accomplishing all the other things.
What are like some of the smaller things that you've seen recently that have worked with your members, and maybe tell us a story or two?
Yes, absolutely. We have so many members right now that are hitting push-ups from their toes and hitting double unders.
Okay.
And I did a trainer talk at our own gym months ago about how many people just drop to their knees for push-ups. Absolutely. Finisher today, I might have, or that intermission today, I might have been dropping to my knees for push-ups by the end. But if you really want to get stronger at your push-ups, and we'll go into things like modifications later on, there are modifications to be had where you can start incline higher on the box and work your way down. And we have about 2 or 3 members that have in the last 3 months really set a goal. Every week I'm going to tip that box down lower, bit down lower. And Joanna, I'm going to give her a shout out. She's our member of the month this month.
Oh, cool.
She is doing push-ups on her toes. She's working at home with her sons, you know, on the nightstand, on the stairs, and she's getting push-ups from her toes. And then double unders. We have a whole crew of 530 crew, 4 or 5 people now, just working on form. And maybe they're getting that double under around, but the form's not the best. And they're getting fatigued after a few. So setting those focus meetings with us, your trainers, and then just taking that time after camp to really be able to set the goals and set the intentions. And I think all of those members now that are doing double unders push-ups, I think from my perspective of talking with them and having those check-ins is they feel a lot more accomplished right now, and they're not even worried about what that scale says anymore.
Yeah, I love that. And you're such an amazing example of how to actually execute on that, right? Because we preach this from the mountaintops, like it's more important what you gain versus what you lose, right? So that we're not always chasing like the negative connotation or the negative side of things. Right. Like we're not losing weight, we're not like getting rid of calories, we're not like going into a deficit. Like all of that stuff has this, it's like the language, a lot of times that you'll hear somebody that's not really winning in life, they're gonna use negatively associated language. People that are winning in life, they're using language that's associated with that, like words of winners versus like the language of people that aren't losing. And what I love about what you said is like, okay, you're bringing them in and you're giving them these performance goals. That's really what you're doing. Like you're giving them push-ups and you're giving them double unders. You say, hey, your progress towards these things is going to equal happiness. Not your like progress toward like losing weight. Like how enchanting is that? Nobody gets excited about, oh, I got to lose 80 pounds. Like here we go. Like, but if you're telling me, all I got to do is listen to you, crazy lady, and I'm going to do some double unders, like, and then I'm going to lose weight, and my measurable can actually be like the double unders that I do. I don't know. I think it's just it's a much more compelling proposition for people. You know, no, everybody's sick of like chasing down their weight loss goals and like going to this gym, to that gym, to this one, to that one. And so when we do this, right, and people sit down with you and they tell you their vision and you start to break it down with them, that's really our second focus meeting, right? Is like build a structure. The third one is a deep dive. Right, and this is where you're like, okay, so let me ask you this. So now you have these members who they're getting, they want to do the double under. They told you that when you said, what do you want, why you want it, they said, I want to do double unders or I want to do a push-up because those are my performance goals. Okay, well, wanting to do that versus being able to do that may have a gap. Not that you can't, you just haven't yet. So how do you use our third focus meeting, deep dives, to go deep with somebody who maybe doesn't connect on the form? And I'm going to grab you a jump rope and I'm going to ask you to show us a few examples on the double under of how you've gotten people through this. But what is that last focus meeting, like when you're working on them one-on-one, what is the motivation to do that? Like what is like the same way somebody's going to want to come in and work with you on nutrition, to lose weight, whatever. How do you get them to get in the mindset to come work with you on double unders, to go something toward that they like? And I want you to answer the question. Absolutely. I'm going to go grab you a jump rope, and then you're going to.
Sure. So what I always say is I didn't pick these performance goals for you. You chose them for yourself. So we will talk about what that would mean to you. And a lot of time doing push-ups, we have a lot of moms in here that are like, I want to show my kids what it's like to be strong. I want to do something like a double under that I didn't know I could ever do. And that builds the confidence that you can. Now you're in camp, go pick up something heavier without your trainer giving it to you. Or now you're out in the world and you're taking that confidence out into your real life as well. So that's what I always tell everybody is, I didn't choose these goals for you, you chose them for yourself, and then I'm gonna help you every step along the way. But then we will, and Devan said third focus meeting, but we'll go every week, every couple days sometimes if it's a performance goal. I had somebody named Brittany, she's one of our 530 members. She was there twice a week for about 3 weeks until she hit her first double under.
Oh,
so
nice.
she's still stringing them along, still working on getting that PR, but she was here every single week until she got that first one, until it finally connected, especially with double unders, because sometimes it takes a little bit longer for other people, but we will all get them in the end if we keep working. So.
Yeah, no, we definitely will, and it's much more psychological, you guys, than it is physical. There's no shortage of people that I've met in my travels, and I'm sure that you're the same here in Clifton Park, where I can meet you, I can look at your athletic ability, I know you can do one, and I know as soon as I see you moving and I witness your proprioception, I know that you can do a double. You just don't believe that you can. And so my biggest tip, I don't even need to show anything. My biggest tip is just pretend like you're doing a triple under. And if you actually give conviction and effort to that, you're going to do the double a lot easier, because shoot for the moon, land on the clouds, right? Like you shoot for the stars, even if you miss, you're still going to land on the clouds. You've heard this before, right? Shoot for the clouds, you land like in the ocean or on the cement. That hurts. So like if you aim higher than what you're trying to accomplish, then it's easier to accomplish. And so that's my biggest one, is like, I always ask people, what would you have to do with your body to do a triple under? And that kind of bypasses for those that might be like technically overdoing it. Like my wrists need to be here, my things need to be here, my toes need to point down, my chin needs to be up, my belly button needs to be into my spine. I need to have it's like there's a lot going on right there. So that's my favorite tip. Yeah. Although I'm a fan of the technical stuff. What's your favorite tip?
So like you just said, there are a ton of different cues. So you always try to assess everybody individually, because like you said, you have some people that have the highest single under I've ever seen, and then all of a sudden you just ask them just to move your wrists a little faster, and that might do it. Or some people, they need to make their jump a little bit higher. The biggest thing I almost say is do not tuck your knees up.
Show me what that looks like.
Yeah, so this was my first double under, was one of these.
This is your first one?
Okay, a tuck. All right, so that, after you do 3 or 4, that's going to be hard to do for a long time.
And you can't really get that rhythm, right?
No. You're going to bounce all over the place. You're going to tire yourself after 3 or 4. So the biggest thing I like to actually say is like there's a balloon on the ceiling, you're trying to pop it with a pin.
Oh, that's
my
a good one.
second thing, I don't know if you're like younger than me, maybe you don't know what this is, but a pogo stick. You got to bounce and you get a little bit of air time. All right, so we get a lot of people that go a little bit faster with their feet. You just want to go a little bit higher off those toes, and then you get higher in the air every time. So those are my 2 cues, head up, and then it's all getting the air time from the lower body.
Oh, beautiful. Look at that. Let's go. Let's go. Mic drop. Those are amazing tips. I've never heard the pop the balloon or the pogo stick one before. That's really good. I also like this one here where, and you can see sometimes we do this with a band. We'll put a band around. Go grab me a quick mini band, yeah. We're going to put a mini band around here, because a lot of times if you watch my rope, as my hands shorten up, my rope gets, right, as my hands get wider, my rope gets shortened up. My starting position is with my elbows kind of pinned into my side here.
Are we going around your whole body?
Yeah, you can go around the whole body. Go ahead.
I try to be the stretchiest one.
Give me the stretchiest one. Give me the stretchiest one.
I might need your help here.
It's usually easier to do it on your
there
own.
we
It's
go.
usually
We got it.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and pin my elbows down with this, and then when I grab my rope, this is gonna force me. This is for those chronic hand elevation people. All right, you're gonna put this right here on your body, and that's gonna force you to stay down. This feels kind of awkward because I don't need it, but I'm gonna try it anyway with a short rope. Okay, going here, and it's just gonna force you to keep those hands down. And when you keep your hands down, although my rope's a little short here, it's gonna make the rope longer for you, and it's gonna really do you a lot of good. Watch what happens when I start to go up like this. Okay, my rope comes up with me, and I'm gonna clip myself in the ankles. So if you're hitting your toes often, this is a good one to try because it's gonna make your rope longer. All right, what's next?
All right, so next what we're gonna talk about is injuries, modifications. So as someone who's come back from injuries, it's hard, especially coming back to maybe what you thought you used to be able to do on the floor.
Tell me your injury.
So I was in an accident about a year and a half ago, and biggest physical injuries, I had a broken leg and a broken ankle. So within a few months, I was back on the floating floor, but I always was actually a little bit embarrassed as a trainer here. I was thinking, like, how am I gonna come work out here? And everyone's looking to me as a trainer, and I'm doing modifications with burn bars, rip 60s, all those things. So my first thing is, like, of course, if you're cleared by a doctor, come back to burn because there is a place for you. All right, so don't have to ask the trainer what are we doing today? If it's something that you are cleared and you're ready to come back, yes, take that time before camp and work with your trainer on something that might be something you would need to modify for that day, but your trainers also start to know what you're gonna need as well the more you come to camp. So what the biggest thing is there is a place for you no matter what, and us as trainers here at Burn Boot Camp, we are trained and professionals at making sure that you can still get the best workout in without feeling discouraged, and everybody's workout might look a little bit different, but you're still going to work just as hard even if you are coming back from different injuries.
For sure, that's beautifully put. And so we're going to demonstrate for you what that might look like. Francesca's going to train me. I'm going to mimic a exercise that we would do in any like random workout. And what we're going to show is, and what I want you to do as you're watching this is I want you to put yourself into what exercise, which variation of the exercise would fit you today. All right, we're going to go from high intensity and we're going to go all the way down to the lowest intensity. And like I said, wherever you fall in that kind of what would you call it? The range. Wherever you fall in that range, insert yourself there, and I promise you can do one of them. All right, and then burn doesn't have to seem so scary to you. So I know that some people are intimidated by Burn Boot Camp because we do have hard workouts, and they are reported back to be hard. And our members do say that was like the worst thing I've ever done. Okay, awesome, great, love you, see you tomorrow. And so I know that you may be a little bit nervous, and I hope what we can show you is that we're trainers who work this gym from the inside out and from you as an individual from the inside out. And so you're special, and we treat you that way. We're not gonna treat you just like some normal, like, person in the herd that you just come in the gym and nobody really pays attention to you. We're going to look at you and your own abilities, and we're going to put you into the progression that's going to allow you, like she was talking about her first question, it's going to allow you to progress, but it's not going to allow you to get started in a way where you're not building confidence. We always say, help somebody do something they've never done before today, and for some people, that might be the lowest intensity version of that exercise. So let's start. We're gonna do jump squats. I'm gonna start with a weighted jump squat, and then I'm gonna do a few reps. Okay, don't kill me. All right, I'm gonna do a few reps, and then you can just kind of call out what's going on, and you can also then de-escalate my intensity, and we'll finish over here on a wall chair. Okay. All right. So go ahead.
So starting with weighted wall sits or weighted jump squats, you're gonna have those weights up to add an extra load to your body. You're gonna come down in a squat, your quads are gonna try to get parallel to the ground. Now as you come up, you're gonna stand at the top and your feet are gonna actually leave the ground every single time. So soft knees as you land, and then you're gonna progress one rep right to the next fluid movement here. Now if Devan was coming in, maybe he's kind of partially did a little way through his recovery or things like that, or maybe you're just coming to camp for the first time and that's not right for you. We're gonna go without the weight. So same exact form, chest is up. Again, trying to get as deep of a range of motion that works for you, and you're gonna go ahead and still get that hop at the top of your rep, and then bend those knees for that impact on the
right.
ground.
I think it's very important on this one, as you called it out in the very first exercise, is to get your quads, watch, they're parallel with the ground. Okay, my quads are parallel with the ground. Okay, a lot of times you might hear ass to grass. Not always about that life, okay? If we're parallel, okay, I'm good to go. You are good to go if you're parallel with the ground. Makes sense? Say yes.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, then if Devan is maybe, again, overcoming injuries or coming in for the first time and that jumping is just not quite for him yet, he'll go ahead and just take away the jump altogether. And we can even increase, now that we know our squat form, we can even increase our tempo. Your trainer will stand right here. You hit my hand, and you're just gonna go a little bit more in tension with that rep, a little bit quicker. Your heart rate is still getting up, all right? Or we can obviously slow it down too and take it at the tempo that works for you.
If I'm not going to jump and I still want that calf activation in there, I can also, as a little hybrid, go up to my big toe and give some calf raises, okay? So I can go here and then up to a calf raise. Here, and you got the low dunks on too in the calf raises, all right? I usually don't work out in these shoes. We're going here and then calf raise squeeze at the top, all right? Keep going.
All right, so next one would be when we're gonna take it over to the wall. So we're gonna go with this stability ball. We'll take some weights out of the way for you. So stability ball, with the squat. So this is actually something you do in physical therapy a lot if you are coming back from injuries, lower body injuries. You're gonna start with that stability ball for a little bit of added resistance, all right, but it's also gonna take away some pressure from your body by leaning against it onto the wall. You're gonna walk your feet out a little bit further so that when you do come down, your knees aren't going too far forward over your feet. And then you're gonna kind of work your quads a little bit more on this one, but you're still getting that squat form where you come down to about 90 degrees with those knees, and then you have that ball to push against to help you on the way up.
I'm gonna try to wrap my hips around too at the bottom. You see that? Okay, what I don't wanna do is keep my hips in a fixed position because that's gonna push my knees out forward. Okay, I wanna make sure that I really have a nice, what they call posterior tilt on the hips here, and then I'm gonna drop down nice and deep. You can add load to this one too, right? So if Francesca really wanted to, let's say this scenario. How about my knees bother me? So I've had two knee surgeries on my left side. You've had a broken leg.
Yep.
Let's say my knee's bothering me on a particular day. I don't know, because it's Wednesday and it's raining. How about that? All right, and for whatever reason that knee's just like flared up, I might give you a little bit more load with a stability ball so that you can move the load through a more fixed range of motion. When I have the ball, what it's allowing me to do is just really track myself, right? And really just control this eccentric motion here to where I'm getting all the way down. That concentric motion, boom, when you drive it up, okay, that's gonna be really where you put all the power at. So I would probably never put you in a jump squat on this one. Like that doesn't make sense because the prerequisite to jump squat and power is stability. So you just shouldn't have a stability ball if you're gonna go do a power exercise. Okay, and then after that, what's the last one?
Last one's gonna be a wall chair.
We're just chilling.
Yep.
We just chilling.
So this one too, you have that wall for that stability, and you push your back into the wall. And again, even deeper range of motion if you can get there. If not, sometimes you will have to stand up just a little bit based on the pressure that's gonna be forward on those knees. But you wanna come down, and now we're working on that squat form and still working our muscles in that isometric hold without having to put all that pressure on those joints with the jumps or the weights.
That's right. Let's go. So that is a little progression, and when you come in, it doesn't matter if you're right there, listen, or you're at the very first one where I was having weights on my shoulders and doing a jump squat with weight on. It doesn't matter where you're at. All that matters is that you are pushing to what 100% of your intensity is. So intensity doesn't ever need to be modified. What needs to be modified is the exercise. Well, you modify the exercise so that that person can get the most intensity out of it, because intensity equals results, right? Okay. Anything to say on that one right there?
I will tell you, number one, anytime I fix a member's form, whether maybe the jump squat is too much or something else that's a little too much pressure on their body, and I give them, maybe take the weights away and have them do a jump squat where they're getting a full range of motion and it no longer bothers their joints, I say, wasn't that way harder? Wasn't that way more intense? Absolutely. So don't ever feel, and like I said, from my story alone, and I know Devan's been through injuries and things like that, don't ever feel like you're doing less than anybody else. Don't ever compare yourself to what anybody else is doing. As long as, like Devan said, you're on the floor and you're giving your 100%, your workout might look different than somebody else's, but it's not any less than anybody else's.
It isn't. And we get to all do this together. So like that intensity, you get to add value to the room with that philosophy too, right? Like, and that's important because if you're on a team, you want to as a part of that team, you want to be able to add value, and part of that value addition you create as an individual in a team is the intensity or the pursuit, or how fast you like pursue your goals. And so that's why we always like to say intensity doesn't necessarily need to be modified, because in this movement here, listen, if I am in this just still isolated position and I'm pressing my hips into this wall right here, although you can barely see it, with all my intensity, I am activating my quad muscles, a magnitude of order more than if I would just sit here and not think about it. If I go down just a little bit lower, okay, or if I add a little calf raise to it, I can create intensity just by being in it. Even time, right? I just did that for like 25 seconds and my quads are on fire. Like even staying down in that movement for time is intense, and somebody could be right in front of you doing the weighted jump squat version while you're on the wall, and it doesn't matter. How many times have you seen like college athletes just walked off the field, and they're done with their college career, and they come into burn and they're working out next to, somebody who is maybe just came off the couch after 10 years, and they have 3 kids, and life has hit them from like every angle, and they have every valid excuse in the book to not work out, but they're here working out anyways, and they're working out right next to each other, right? Somebody that works out for a living versus someone that hasn't worked out in their life, and they can come in, and the value that they can bring to the room is the same because we have an intensity level that can fit everybody.
Absolutely.
Makes sense.
Yep. I always say there is a spot for everybody on the floating floor. So no matter what your level is, you're going to get the best workout for you, no matter what anybody else next to you is doing. So.
Okay, what are we talking about next?
Med ball slams.
Med ball slams? Okay, so I love this exercise, and this is one of the exercises that I see Burn Nation, how would you say, screwing up on the most. I'm just gonna be honest with you, okay? Call it like I see it. Okay, we need to, if it is in your wheelhouse, if med ball slams are in your wheelhouse and you like them, I need you to pay attention, okay? Because this is very important, and I'm gonna let you give your tips too, okay? All right, so when we start a med ball slam, okay, put the ball on the ground, and I want you to do what's called straddle the ball, okay? Your toes are gonna be slightly outside of your heels, which are slightly outside of your knees, which are slightly outside of your hips, which are in alignment with your shoulders, okay? So I'm straight to here, and then I'm a little wide angle. That's the foundation that I want. When I go down to pick this ball up, all right, for the first time, I'm gonna use my legs. The biggest mistake I see most people making is they're gonna go down, and they're gonna pick the ball up like this. Stiff legs, all right, and what happens, the first muscle that I use to pick this weight up outside of my fingers and my grip is my lower back, okay, my lower back in this hinge motion right here, okay? And I don't want you to hinge, okay, because I'm gonna ask you to go hard through this range of motion. So when you pick the ball up, you're gonna pick the ball up just like you would pick up, or just like you would squat. Okay, so I pick my ball up. The next thing that I'm gonna make sure that I do on a med ball slam, and I'll go wrong and then right, so I see a lot of this where it goes out and then drops. Okay, it goes out and then it drops. What I wanna see is up in the sky, okay, as high as you can, full extension, and I don't wanna see it out over your, the front of your body or behind your body. I wanna see it directly right up over your head, draw your belly button to your spine. This is a core exercise. A lot of people don't understand that. This is a core movement. My stomach right now is the thing that I'm gonna use to slam this ball on the ground. All right, and I'm not just gonna slam it just to slam it. I'm gonna slam it with intensity and with intention. Okay, as hard as I can. I imagine that there's a giant circle, and I cut the circle out, and I'm slamming my ball to Middle Earth. All right, so I'm throwing the ball down I have to throw it straight and hard down this giant hole that I've created all the way to Middle Earth, and I have to do it with intensity, okay, in order for it to get there. So that means I can't throw it backwards at all. I can't throw it left or right or sideways. It's got to be up, okay, in the sky, and then with straight arms, okay, straight arms and a full follow through, I'm going to go right down to Middle Earth. Bam. Notice the full follow through, okay? Now, full follow through looks different when you are doing the intense version of this, which is to try to pick it up off one bounce. So if you're just doing a single med ball and you're just getting started, it's up, tight core, into the ground, let it slam, pick it up. Up, down, into the ground, let it slam. If you're somebody like Francesca or I, especially if we're training one another, we're gonna be up and we're gonna get what's called one bounce, right, Francesca? One bounce means you pick it up with the same intensity that you slammed it down with, okay? It's not a slam, wait, and pick up and grab it. Slam it with the same exact intensity and pick it up with the same exact intensity. That's important. Now the last part about that is to get the heart rate up a little bit more, also to activate the power systems in the body, and that's gonna be the jump squat. So I'm gonna go here, same thing, now I'm adding a jump, right? Getting it off that one bounce. So that's your progression, all right? And what I wanna see you next time when you do this is to remember, straddle the ball, okay? Align it with the body, use the legs to pick it up, full extension, carve your big hole out in the ground, throw the ball to Middle Earth, try to get it on one hop. Any other tips?
Not necessarily a tip, but something like a cue that I like to say when I'm training in camp is squat when you slam. So just like Devan said, I'll say it's not a med ball drop, it's a med ball slam. So instead of this one here where you just let it drop to the ground, no intention, no authority, and no power behind it. Now that ball, first of all, is all the way over there because it rolled all the way over there. But you're with intention, with your authority. If you are slamming it through the ground, one of our other trainers, also named Francesca, says, like you're mad at it. What are you mad at today? Put it on the floor,
okay.
Hit it with the ball. You're going to, again, drive it through the ball, but you're going to squat when you slam. Because even as you get tired, we get these again.
Yep.
Back to the beginning. So always squat when you slam. You're already going down to squat to pick it back up. So if you're going to drive it down in that squat position, you're going to squat to pick it right back up. Do it all at one time.
Good job. Go back down to that bottom one real quick. Stop. Now, So a lot of times what will happen, like she said, is your forehead will drop forward, okay? And one thing that I like to, this is like a visual. This is one of those cues that when we do this cue, it takes care of everything else. Slam like there's a wall in front of you, okay? So if you were to squat down and grab that ball and you have a wall right in front of your nose, you got to go on that plane every time. You can never lean forward. Go ahead. Straight up, straight down. She's going to stay behind that wall. It's just an imaginary wall, okay? It's an imaginary wall, but it's going to give you an ideology of like where you're positioning, where you need to be in space and time. That's called proprioception. Cool?
Yeah.
Hey, this is really good. You guys have fun? I hope you guys have fun. This is Francesca from Clifton Park. Make sure you give it up for her and make sure you comment below. Subscribe to the podcast because I'm traveling and getting with all of our expert trainers across Bird Nation, and you, my friend, no doubt are one of them, and we appreciate your time today. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having me, you guys.
What since you're a guest on the show today, what would you want to say outwardly to Clifton Park, to your family, to anybody out there that, you know, if you had like 30 seconds, speak some life into our souls and then take us out 2 claps on 2.
Obviously, yeah. So I will say, like, one of the things we say here is Burn will change your life if you let it. And if you are nervous about coming to Burn Boot Camp, or if you're a member here at Burn Boot Camp, kind of just recapping the things we talked about today, having those goals, having those intentions. Some days it's just hard to get in the door, and your intention is just coming in that day. You have an entire community of support behind you. Like I said, through everything I've been through, I know firsthand. So the days that you are struggling, the days that is hard, get in the door. Having that first step to the door is the hardest. But once you are here, once you are on this floor, we have your back. And like I said, you have an entire community of people, not just your trainers. You have your BAs, you have your child watch, your front desk staff, and even this guy right behind you. So
that's right, all of us, one family.
Yes, the hardest part is getting that first step in the door, and then just come in and watch how this place will change your life, because it absolutely will. 2 claps on 2. 1, 2.